Hi, my name is Amalie Schaefer. I'm with Systematic Excellence Consulting, and today I'm going to continue my series going over ClickUp's free templates. And the template we're going to go over today is class management. So this could be for teachers that are managing multiple classes. This could be even a principal that is managing where the teachers and the different classes that they have, and potentially even someone, a student that wants to manage all their different classes. You would need to make some customizations if that's the case, but I'm going to walk through the template, how to use it. I'm going to go over the different custom fields that are available, the different views, and show you how you would be able to utilize this. So the first thing is we want to get it into our account. So in order to do that, you want to select the space. So it's a folder, so we want to select the space it's going to go to. And I'm going to put in my template space, go to New Folder. I'm going to go to Templates, Community, and then I'm going to scroll down to the Education section and click on Class Management. Then I'm going to go to Use Template. I'm going to remap the due dates. I'll have it start next week, skip weekends, and you don't have to do that. You can just import it as is if you want to. And I'm going to call this Class Management number 2 because I had already imported it initially, and then I'm going to hit Use Template. So now that it's coming into our account, and there we go. Okay, so here we are, and this is what it's going to look like as soon as you come into it. And I want to go over just what we have here set up. So there's 2 lists. One is My Classes and one is the full list. So if we click on My Classes, you can see that it's set to Me mode. Nothing is assigned to me yet, so there isn't anything going to show up here, but the way you set that is over here where you can go to the Me mode or Assignee. But if I click on Me, it's only going to show me items that are assigned to me specifically. But if I want to see the overall list, then I'd go to the, and I want to turn this off. There we go. Okay, so now we can see everything. We can see whatever classes I have in here. And this is grouped by status. So these statuses are pulled from each individual list. So let's go to the board view. So the board view here is going to pull all of the statuses both from the classes list and the assignment submissions list. And there's 2 boards. They didn't name them separately, but the other one is just grouped by due date. So anything that had a due date is going to go into these 2 different statuses. One is future, one is no due date. And then you can see the collapsed one. So this is broken down by the days of the week. And there's nothing due on those days, so there isn't anything in there. If we did have them, then these would be open. So if this due date, let's say, is tomorrow, then it's going to pop up there. And so then you can either you can collapse the group, and then you can see that these are the other ones. So this just gives you a little more focused view of what you have coming up and what you have going on. And now again, this is pulling from both the classes and the assignment submissions. So those are the 2 board views that that they have available. Then they have a calendar view. And this is showing the month of February and whatever is due during that time. Then they have a second one that is broken down by the month. and it just has the show weekends turned off. So if you wanted to show weekends, you could turn the weekends on or turn it off, depending on how you want to see that. And then you can also set different things in here. So if you want to see if you want to see different information about the tasks, you can select this to be able to see those. And then to go to the next month, we would just click on go to the next month. And again, you can turn these settings off if you don't want to see those, but if you do, then you can have that turned on. They have a guide to get you started. So it's in a ClickUp doc. If you just click on guide, it'll come in here, gives you an intro to this template, which is a really great starting place. Then it also gives you some tips on how to use the different lists. So the class list, basically it's there to track the progress, any complete and upcoming things for your class list. The custom fields, we'll go over those in a moment. And so this just gives you a quick synopsis of that. And then for the assignment submission, this has a form attached to it. Now, if you have the free version of ClickUp, you won't be able to access the form. If you have the business or unlimited, then you would have access to the form. I'm going to show you the form in my other account. I do all of my videos on the free account to show, you know, what's available for you on the free account. So I will show you that in a moment, and then it just goes into what's available in the assignment submissions list, and how you can show that the assignments are to do, pass, or fail, and then you can archive, and then there's an archive status, and then there's a custom field for grades. And then there's a doc for useful actions that go over how to edit the folders and lists, how to delete tasks, how to set up checklists as templates, and just how to do templates in general. So that is available for you. So let's go back to the main list, and let's look at what they have available as far as the tasks. So actually I want to go to the individual list here. So in the classes list, they have this task set up, so one class per task, and then the due date. Now, maybe for the due date, you would set the due date as recurring, like when you have that class, and then they have a days of the week to set when you actually have that class, what subject it is, what grade you're teaching, how many students are in it, the classroom that it's in, and maybe what you do for the due date could be setting a recurring date for what, like class prep for yourself or something like that, and then you would assign it to yourself. And you can always add other custom fields. Maybe you have like a Google folder that you want to, where you're going to save a bunch of the stuff. So you could do website, and then you could do an asset folder, and add the link there to the Google folder that you have associated with this class or something like that. Now, what I would do is for each of your classes, I would create yourself a checklist of class prep. So if we just hit add checklist, we could call it class prep, because I'm assuming that depending on what class it is, there's going to be different prep that needs to be done. And then from here, you can add your items of what you need to do to prepare for that class, and you can put those items in here, and then you can save this as a template if you want, or if we set it to recurring. So this class is every Wednesday, so let's set the due date for Wednesday. We'll set recurring. It's going to happen weekly when closed. We want to create a new task and update status to in progress. If this is a current class that you have. And then when it recurs, so if we say it's finished, now I think the idea here is that the template is set up so that it isn't necessarily where you're doing something weekly, that you just have your schedule set up and you're not actually going to set it to recurring. But if for preparation and things like that, I would probably set it to recurring personally. Now you don't have to do that, but you can see here that the task that I set up here did recur and is showing like March 9th is the next class that I need to do that. The other thing you could do is you could do a start date, maybe it starts, but it ends, whenever the semester would end. We'll just say then. So then, oops. So that's the due date, and maybe we want to put the start date then. There we go. So now it's showing March 9th is the start date, and then the end date is on June 1st. But again, like, you can come in here and customize this to what you need. If you wanted to, you could, instead of recurring, maybe you don't want it to recur, we can just hit don't recur, and it's due on Wednesday. Then you could create a checklist for each week if you wanted to. This could be class prep checklist week 1 or something like that. And then if you wanted to save this, if this is a particular class, then you could save this as a template. And then that way next semester you could just use the same template. So if we wanted to save this as a template, we click on the 3 dots, go to Template Center, Save As Template, and this is class 1, and we want to import everything. We go ahead and hit Save, and then it will save all the checklist items. So there will be some prep in the beginning if you want to use it as a template for each week. And then the other way to do it is you could do subtasks. So class prep, week 1, class prep, week 2, class prep, week 3, something like that. Week 1. And then what I would do then, if that's how you want to manage it, I would do the date that it starts. So let's say the semester starts on March 2nd. I would set the start date then for the main task, and then I'd put whatever day it ends on. So let's say it ends on June 1st, and then you would set the due date for the subtasks for each week between that time and go from there. So if we were going to, so if this is week 1, we said it starts on the 2nd, so maybe class prep is on, you do Tuesday. And then for week 2, maybe we set it for the following Tuesday, and so on. And then you would do that for each week. And then within there, you could put your checklist for each week. So this is, class prep checklist, and then you can save the checklist as a template. So there we go. And then if you wanted to save this as a template, we would just go to Save As Template. We want to create a new template and call it Class 1 Class Prep Checklist. And then we'll save the template. So that's week 1. So if we go into week 2 and we want to add that checklist, we can click on Use Template. We find our class prep. Go ahead and use template. So now it'll apply that. So then you can really, in the beginning of the semester, you could get, or the beginning of the year, you could get your entire schedule set up with the checklist items for each of the weeks that are, that apply to this particular class. And if you don't need that checklist here, we can just delete that. And then you would have this, and then these due dates would come up for you to remind you that you have class prep. Here's all the information you need for the actual class. And then you could do that for each of your classes. If this is someone, if you're someone that manages a bunch of teachers, then you could have your whole sort of schedule in here, and then you can assign these to different people. Maybe instead of having a folder for class management, it might be a space, and then each class would get its own folder with specific lists in it or something like that. Okay, so we did the classes, went over the custom fields that are here, and you can edit these custom fields, hide them if you don't want them. Maybe you don't want to know what classroom, you can just go to hide column, and that'll take it away from this view. And if you do want to see it again, then you would just come over here and hit classroom and add it back over there. Okay, what I would also do is inside of the tasks for the classroom, I might put some instructions for yourself or guidance, anything that any information you need about the class, any references that you might need when you're preparing. I would put that in the main task, and then you can reference it, if you are coming into your subtask, you can just come to the main task to see any references you need for that. The other thing you could do is if you have to order materials or anything like that, you could set yourself up with a subtask for that, or checklist items for the overall prep for a class for the year or something like that. Okay, great. So that is the class list. Let's go to the assignment submissions. So in here, what they have available is, and I always set this up to show empty statuses, and maybe we'll want to see closed tasks. So they have their closed status as archived, and that's totally fine. So this will just be a closed task, but what you could do is you could set up an automation to automatically archive a task when it's moved to that status if you want. But for now, let's just look at what they have here and what's available. So they have the list view. Obviously, you have the option for board view or calendar. I'll go over the assignment submission in a second. But the main thing that we want to look at here is what they have available as far as the custom field. So they have the date created, when the task was created. So this is showing a submission that someone filled out the form that they created. So here we're not going to be able to see it in this one, but what I did is I actually pulled it into our personal or our team's account. And so what we can see here is this is what the form is. So it has your name, your grade, assignment, and subject, so you can see the different grades, and you can edit this to add different grades, and I'll show you that in a second. Assignment, subjects, we can edit this, any notes that they need to add, and then the person that's submitting their assignment would attach it here and then submit. So if we want to edit it, we'd go to edit. Okay, if you want to edit the custom field, so let's say we need to add some more grades. So we would just go to edit field, and then we can come in here and add new options. Maybe we need to add 11th grade, and we want to add a color to that. We can hit save. We can mark that it's required, or delete the field, whatever. We can do all that from here. And then if we hit save, now it'll be in there. The other thing we can do is we want to also add the task to the description, which would take whatever their response is, will be in the description of the task. Now, if we want to have a hidden field, then it won't show up on the form. but can be filled out through, through the URL. And this might be if you are going to pre-fill out that portion of it. I'm not going to do that right now, but obviously that's an option for you. And again, if you need to change the assignment, the subject, we would just edit the field and you would be able to add whatever you need to add there. And then you can add different sections to it just by hitting the plus sign here. So if there's other things that you want to have on the form, you can do that. And then when you're ready to send it, you're going to copy the link, and I'll just open that up here so you can see it. And this is what the form will look like when you send it to someone or to the student, and then they would just fill it out. And I actually did fill it out. So there are two views here, editing and viewing. And so this is what it's going to look like. You can also select assignee. So if you want to assign it to yourself once they fill it out, you can apply a template task if you want, or redirect them to a URL after they fill it out. And there are options to turn off the ClickUp branding, add custom field answers to the description, so you can turn that on. And there's other options here that you can select. So now that we've done that, let's look at what it looks like when someone submits a task, or I'm sorry, the form. So again, I want to see what the empty statuses are so we can see to do, fail, or pass. Now, I did submit this form and I selected those items. So it's saying that when it was created, so I filled that out today. And then I just uploaded one of our actually transcript files. So this is what it would look like when they submit their assignment. It would be here, and then you can view it by clicking on it. Download it. You can add comments. You can even open it up in a new tab, or you can delete it. But this is where the assignment would be, and then you would just move it through. Either they failed or they passed. Now, I do want to say here that they have the fail or pass in a done status, meaning that it's once you move it there, it won't be considered overdue, but it will unblock any dependencies that it's waiting on. Now, there might not be any dependencies for this, but what it will do is, like I said, it will just put it to a done status, so it won't show overdue. And because I made the change there to assign it to me, so if I put my name in here again, and we'll say this, and let's add a file, and then if I hit submit, now over here in our submission, it's going to show that I submitted the second one. So that's the second one. Oops, I guess I didn't. There we go. And if we open that up, and remember I wanted those things to be in the task description, so you can see that they're in there now. And then there's that file that I uploaded in there. Okay, so that is the walkthrough of the class management template that ClickUp offers for free. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. If you're looking for support to customize this, there is a link to book a free consultation with me, and we can sit down and talk about what is possible and what you're trying to organize. And if you want to catch my future videos, make sure you subscribe to the ClickUp Mastery YouTube channel. And thank you so much for watching.